Welcome to It's Your City. I am Vanessa Littrell of MuzNet, Musicians Network of Northern Nevada. This is a brand new group that has been put together by several local musicians. We are serving Northern Nevada, and we have actually just been starting meeting in this spring of 2012. The board of directors have been meeting since fall of 2011, but it took us a little while to get rolling and get people excited to join our group. So today I am here because I want to share with you, first of all, who I am and what my connection with this community is, and then what is MuzNet and why it exists and what we are trying to do. Then I will also discuss with you what we're doing right now, kind of our short-term goals. We have many long-term goals, but as anybody knows, when you're trying to do something, you have to achieve short-term goals. So I will go over some of those. And then lastly, I will explain how you can get involved or get other people excited and involved, because really the purpose behind this organization is involving the community, is involving musicians, is involving venues. We really want this to be a community effort. So first off, who am I? I am a musician. I first stepped on the stage when I was 6 years old. Wasn't real nervous, found that that was where I belonged. It was kind of a long journey. Obviously, I still had to finish elementary school and go to college and do all of those wonderful things. But I have always found that at the end of the day, at the end of the month, I come back to music. And I explore music in many different ways. I am a teacher. I am self-taught at piano and guitar. I am currently training to be a piano tuner. I do graphic design, flyers for other musicians. It's basically all-you-can-eat music all the time. I am also a fine artist. I graduated from Chico State in 1993, and so with a little bit of theater background, music background, and studio art background, I basically am all arts all the time. So this is my passion, but my further passion is to make arts a viable, employable job, not only for myself, but for other people who find that this is their gift and talent. So that's kind of about me, and that leads us into why MuzNet, why create a network of musicians. In my more recent past, I have really been striving to attack art from a business standpoint. And what I mean by that is you get up in the morning and you're inspired to write a song, and that's great. But if you aren't willing to whip out the day planner and start setting up some dates and get your demo and your photos and your website going, you're not really going to have a chance to perform that song for anyone. So on the one hand, there's the creative, inspirational side of being a musician, but there is the business side. And MuzNet, for me, is about the business side of being a musician. So in about 3 years ago, I started attending business network meetings. I belonged to Business Interactive Group, Weddings of the West. I would go to Chamber of Commerce meetings, and I represented myself as a musician in the world doing music as a business. And I started getting more and more opportunities to perform. What I was frustrated about, though, is that I did not have a place to go. There was not a place for me to go to meet with other musicians. Granted, I could step into Comma Coffee and I'm sure there'd be another musician in there, but it's not consistent, and I would not necessarily know that I was going to sit down and meet with other musicians. So I looked around. I looked up in Reno, I looked in Carson City to see if such a group existed. You know, I belong to Weddings of the West, which is all about weddings. Why not belong to a group that's all about music? So after searching around, I didn't really find anything. There were a lot of social network groups. Todd South in Reno is doing a fantastic job with the Reno Music Project with showcase series, but there wasn't a component of let's sit down and talk business. So I collected a few friends of mine and said, what do you think about creating a group like this? The nice side to this is I'm always greeted with enthusiasm. Oh, that's a great idea. So it's not like I came up with this idea and people went, nice, move on, come up with your next great idea. People are very enthusiastic about this idea. The next step to this process is not just enthusiasm, but actual engagement. So that leads into what is MuzNet doing right now. So our short-term goals are A, creating a membership base. So we have 20 people, we had 2 meetings already, and we want to grow from that. Why does that matter? I can tell you several reasons. One, financial. We are charging a very nominal $40 a year. As we have more members, all of a sudden our organization has more funds. What do we do with those funds? Well, I'll tell you. Here's a perfect example. We come into the Brewery Arts Center, we rent the Performing Arts Center for a night, and we perform. That's just one example of what you can do with funds. If we make money back, the money goes back into the organization, and we're able to go out and rent another facility and do something. That may make you think, oh, this organization is just about creating opportunities. It is also about bridging. So, for example, our first meeting was at Plan B Micro Lounge in Carson City, and Scott was our first speaker, and he brought in the subject of how to interact with venues. Well, not only did we get the benefit of all his information on how to interact with local venues, obviously by his opinion, but at the end of the evening, musicians were then able to interact with him and discuss what they are doing and his opinion on that. And so building bridges between musicians and a venue. And that is what we're trying to do here, is to build bridges. So the other thing I'm doing right now is working on building a bridge with the Brewery Arts Center. At the end of the month, I will be, not July, at the end of August, I will be meeting with Tammy Shelton, the program director, and we're going to sit down and talk about what can we do to create more buzz here at the Brewery Arts Center involving local musicians, still getting musicians paid, still getting the Arts Center paid, and still creating low-cost, interesting, diverse programming that will bring the community in. So the beautiful thing about that is we are addressing the musicians, the venues, and the community. So that's really the biggest goal here at MuzNet, is to do those things. So the question is, how can you get involved? Because I'm sure you're getting excited about this and you want to see more music in your community, and you either are a musician or you know a musician, or maybe your kids are in band and you want them to keep playing. You don't want them to put down that trombone when they graduate from high school. They should have a place to go to play music. So if you are interested in being involved, we have monthly meetings, and in the concept of engaging all of Northern Nevada, we are not meeting in one location. So back in May, we met here in Carson City. In June, we met in Reno. In August, we will meet down in Gardnerville, and in September, we will be meeting in Tahoe. And it is our goal and our plan to keep that rotation going for a couple of reasons. Say you're a Gardnerville resident and you're not going to make the drive to Reno. Fine, we have several Gardnerville meetings. Reno folk may not want to go to Tahoe, and so on. But for those people who are inspired to come to all meetings, you will be at different locations and get different speakers. And yes, we have speakers. There is an educational component. Our topics so far have included, as I mentioned before, how to interact with the venues. Then we had a discussion of how to prep for your studio time. You can't just show up, you got to prepare for your studio time. In August, we will be discussing how to treat music like a business. We have a marketing expert coming in, and he will discuss that. So there is a mix and mingle element to the evening in which you can talk to other musicians. Then we have the educational component. And then at the end of each night, we choose a member who is then the member of the month and is displayed on our website. So we're really trying to keep it interactive, engaged, and informative. So that being said, and I am going to use my paper here, our next meeting will be Tuesday, August 21st at Flight, which Some of you may or may not know the history, but we have a restaurant over on Airport that has changed hands several times. It is currently called Flight, and the owner there has graciously offered us a large space to hold our meeting. The meeting will be from 7 to 9, and if you forget or you're not exactly sure the details, please go to our website, which is MuzNet, MuzNet.org. And we always have our meetings posted there. We have information about the organization. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, September 19th. I don't have the location written down, but we do have that on our website, and that is also from 7 to 9. So I think that kind of gives you a smattering of what's going on. I would just like to repeat that this is a volunteer organization. I don't have to be doing this, but I believe in making a scene. If there is not a scene in your town, then create one. So we have a lot of rural outlying towns that need a little sprucing up and a little bit of shine going on, and we get to be that shine. We are the entertainment, but in the vein of treating this like a business, we need to make sure that we gather, that we share information, and that we proceed as professionals here in Northern Nevada. So that's MuzNet. Hope to see you soon. Thanks.